What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another PG Sports podcast. Our special guest today is Spencer Miller. We're going to chat it up about what he does. I know he does some motivational speaking. He works in sports, and he's been doing lives too, just like this. Let me get him in here. What's up, Christy? What's up, Cody? Hey, what's up?
What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Hold on, just from the volume up.
No problem at all.
Am I clear on your end?
You are indeed.
I know you know how these things work.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Have you been having a lot of technical difficulty with it or not?
I've had some technical difficulty, as you've seen with a couple of my guests. They froze and then they just drop off, and then you're like, "Oh snap!" and have to wait till they come back in and then send another request and things like that. But that's the wonderful world of technology in general. It's wonderful when it works. It is a bitch when it does not.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I've been going through streaks. I feel like some weeks it's been like perfect, and other weeks have been like shitty the whole week.
Right.
You're in Canada, right?
I am. I'm in Toronto.
Gotcha. How's it up there with like the coronavirus and stuff?
Well, we still gotta follow guidelines and be very vigilant with the guidelines in order to get out in front of this thing. But Toronto is doing the best that we can in order to get ahead of it as best we can, because we all want to return to some semblance of normal life sooner rather than later. But we need to pay attention to what the experts are saying and follow what they're saying rather than what the human version of the biggest walking Cheeto known as the President of the United States that you have over there is recommending from time to time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think you guys are doing better than us with it.
100. Yes, 100%.
So yeah, let's just talk about how like first how'd you get into just like working in sports?
So I used to be the ambassador for Canada representing people with disabilities. And so I would go around and do keynote speeches and different things like that, and got to meet a lot of sports figures that way. And I was always a huge fan of sports, anyways. So it was a natural transition, and one thing led to another, and then started making unbelievable relationships within the sports world, and here we are today.
Yeah. Now I know you do like a lot of motivational speaking, and I know you work with like athletes, like whoever you work with. I know who you worked with, but let people know who you work with.
I've worked with everybody from Roberto Alomar and Isaiah Thomas to George St. Pierre to Mike Trout, to Manny Machado, to Aaron Judge, Brett Gardner, David Cohn, David Wells, Dwayne Ward, Tom Hankey, John Olerud, Pat Hankin.
So everybody.
Yes.
Did they reach out to you, or you reach out to them, or both?
They reach out to me because I've been doing it for so long that my reputation precedes me pretty much at this point, and so when they need somebody, they give Spence a little ring-a-ding-ding, and here I am.
I gotcha. What about who like has there been anybody that like contacted you that surprised you?
No. I mean, it's interesting to work with all different types of individuals, as you know, because you never know what you're going to get or what vibe you're going to get off them once you start working with them. And as for as many good people that I've worked with my fair share of douchebags along the way as well, which will remain nameless for the purposes of this live cast at the moment. But yeah, you take the good with the bad, as in anything, right? So
yeah, definitely. Now are you like all Toronto fan, like sports wise?
no, I'm just a sports fan in general, and one of your followers just asked, "Who is this?" You know, if you tuned into the beginning for the introduction, you would have found out who I am.
I'll have to watch the replay.
Yes.
Um, yeah, actually, I saw you. I think you had a.
Are you there?
My fault. My fault. Someone was calling me.
Okay. What was the question?
This morning you had a Mets hat on, right?
I still have the Mets.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So you
I,
Met.
well, one of my good buddies is Todd Frazier, um, and Jacob DeGrom, and so Todd played a couple of years for the Mets, and a couple of years ago the Mets were up playing the Blue Jays in interleague play during July 4th, Independence Day, and so the whole league was wearing Independence Day version hats, and I really liked the version that the Mets had, and plus I didn't have a Mets hat anyways. And so when I saw how cool the Mets hat for 4th of July was, I said to Todd, I was like, "Hey Todd, I effing love that hat. Can you go into the clubhouse and get me one?" So he did, and that's this one.
Nice. Oh yeah, I saw. I saw the. I don't know if I saw the Todd Frazier interview live or I watched the replay of it, but I watched it.
Okay, good. Yeah.
What about who's someone that you want to get that you haven't got yet, like on your live? I know you got a lot of people so far.
I'm fortunate because I have all different types of relationships and things like that, not only in sports but in entertainment. So I'm able to get um, I'm able to get a lot of people and a lot of different people from different disciplines. But yes, do I have some people on my bucket list? Absolutely. But I'm also one of those people who doesn't like to jinx it. So I'm going to keep that, keep the names to myself as I'm constantly working on it to make it happen.
All right, I feel you. Have you went live with anyone that you didn't know yet?
No.
Do you want to or not?
Uh, uh, well, inevitably, I'm going to at
Yeah,
some point. I just haven't reached that point yet.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Like what are you like missing during this quarantine that like you can't do? Obviously, we can't do a lot, but yeah.
Um, you know, missing sports
Yeah.
is a huge thing because even when sports comes back, and we've seen the Bundesliga come back, and we've seen the 24 team playoff format for the NHL get approved yesterday or the day before, and so on and so forth. So sports is now slowly going to make its way back. But for me, it's still going to be extremely strange to watch a baseball game, a basketball game, a football game, or a hockey game without fans because, you know, we have found out whether it is Bundesliga, UFC, whatever the case may be, the audience and the fans play more of an integral role in these games than we initially thought because we took it for granted. But they really add to the atmosphere and everything like that. Although, on the other end of that same coin, it is interesting to hear the trash talk and different things like that on the field or on the pitch or in the cage, whatever the case may be, more so than you would previously. Like when Greg Hardy heard Daniel Cormier say that he needed to check his kicks, and then he checked his kicks.
Yeah, that's I know you're a big UFC guy. I think the fights are crazy now just because of that because we can hear like everything.
Yeah. Um, and later today, I'm going to be posting an interview with Dana White,
Yeah.
UFC president, so that'll be a lot of fun and things like that. But I've been around the UFC a long time and been fortunate enough to uh, be be there for some big moments. So I love the UFC and I love those guys.
Did you already record the interview with them or are you recording it later?
That's why we needed to move this interview early because our initial time is the time that I'm gonna be dealing with Dana. So sorry I had to bump you early, but
Oh, no.
when Dana says, "Hey, I can finally fit you into the schedule," you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. How did you like meet Dana White?
Um, so at the end of 2009, they were opening a UFC Canada office, and my friend Tom Wright, who was the CFL commissioner, ended up becoming the UFC Canada president, and I went to his press conference, and one thing led to another, and I met Lorenzo and Frank Fertitta as well as Dana White, and because of my intoxicating, encapsulating personality, you know, we became fast friends.
There you go. Are there any fights you looking forward to?
Um, Not right at the moment. It's interesting that somebody with the legendary status like Anderson Silva now wants to come out at 45 years old and fight Conor McGregor. If this was 10 years ago, that would get a lot of traction, but Anderson hasn't been the same in a long time.
Yeah. So I know you've been at. I just listened to the podcast before that you were on with Duncan.
Yep.
So I know you've been at a lot of UFC events. What's like? Give me your like top three events you went to.
Uh, UFC 129 at Rogers Center in front of 55,000 people. George St. Pierre versus Jake Shields, because it was the biggest fight ever
Oh,
at that time. UFC 124, Koscheck versus GSP, because I talked about it in the podcast that was the most hostile environment that I have ever been a part of. And then in New Jersey in 2011, when John Jones beat Mauricio Shogun to become the champion for the first time.
all right. You got. I'm surprised. I was surprised you got it that quick. I thought you were going to think about it.
Nope.
What about? I know. I don't know if you've seen these like rumors that I think Usman wants to fight Conor McGregor or vice versa.
Yeah,
Like,
but about 45 minutes ago, Dana White just said that that's not happening.
uh, well, good because I thought Conor McGregor would probably get killed.
Yeah, here's the thing about Connor is you got to give it up to Connor because I talked about it on the podcast as
Yeah.
well. And for those who are watching um, and have not seen, um, or not seen, but have not listened to the podcast yet, you can go to the Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast, episode 384, and I'm there, and you guys will get a good laugh about it. But as I was talking about in that podcast, is you got to give it up to Conor McGregor 150% because
Yeah.
that guy came from a impoverished situation in Ireland and became this unbelievable magnetic character in the UFC and combined the UFC with the WWE just as good, if not better, than Chael Sonnen did in his fights with Anderson Silva. But in doing so, he obviously made a lot of money because of the character and because of building up the character. And, that resulted in a huge payday with the Floyd Mayweather fight a couple of summers back. And now, I think because of all this success, due to the character that he created, um, he's not really focused on the fights as well as he should be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I forgot even how many fights he had. Would he have like one fight in the last 2 years, 3 years?
2 years or two fights in the last two
Yeah,
years.
the
Yeah,
boxing one.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know you do some acting too. What have you like? Tell me some roles you've been in like what movies or shows.
So, Designated Survivor on Netflix with Kiefer Sutherland,
Mhm.
um, and a couple other movies. One called Tag, the Jonathan Wambach story, and a few others as well. And before this pandemic started, I was working on a couple of other projects that I'm very excited to get back to if and when that ever happens at this fucking point. But we'll see. And I like dipping my toe in everything that I can.
I got you.
Yeah.
Um,
I should also I should also say a big shout out to my friend Angie, who got mad at me that I did not mention as one of my top UFCs, which was the one that I met her at, which was the Max Holloway. I forget who he fought, but Max Holloway killed the guy in Toronto. Not this December, but the December before. It's gonna bother me that I can't remember the guy's name. Um, but yes, it was really nice that fight, and it was an understated card of the year for that one as well. The interesting thing about that too is my friend Angie um, was on an oxygen tank because she was waiting for a double lung transplant at the time, and we had never met. And I pulled up beside her, and we initially started talking and things like that. And then at the end of the co-main event, right before the Holloway fight started, she leans over to me in a chair, and she goes, uh, "Don't be alarmed if I don't talk to you very much during the main event. My oxygen has run out." So she mistimed the oxygen in her oxygen tank and had no oxygen for the main event. So we were kind of white knuckling it there, but she made it to the end, and it was a good fight. So, anyways, that's a little shout out to my friend Angie who's watching right now.
was it you said which UFC was it? What number?
December 8th, 2018.
Oh, 18. Oh, Brian Ortega.
Yes, Brian Ortega, Max Holloway. That's what it was.
That's what it was. Yeah, actually going into that, I don't know if you know, I'm in a wheelchair too. So I wanted to
I
know,
I
huh?
did not I did not know that.
Yeah. So I wanted to know what's your experience been like, just like in arenas, like getting like seating and stuff, because this,
It sucks. It sucks. It is garbage. It is horrible. And they give you the biggest bunch of BS all the time about liability this, liability that, liability. Shut up. You know, my chair goes faster than 98% of these drunk people will at the end of the night, anyways. So if something happens, we will be the first ones out. But a lot of the time, if I have like an all access credential or something like that, that's the only time that they don't give me an issue.
yeah. So last summer, I guess it was summer. Yeah, last summer I went to a WNBA game and I got courtside seats, right? So, but they wouldn't let me sit there because they said it was a liability to sit court, or they wouldn't move the seat either.
Yeah,
So, but it didn't make sense because I was like, I already first of all I sat there before, and then second of all it was just like, and then they were saying after I got on the phone with them, and they were saying there's no emergency exit, which was a lie too because I was like, what about the parking lot on the bottom floor? That's an exit, and then they're like, nah, but it's not an emergency exit. So I was like, well, I could get out though, right? So if it's an exit, then to me it doesn't matter.
correct.
So yeah, that was annoying. So that's why I wanted to know if yeah anything happened to you like that, like front row seating was.
But like I said, as long as I have a pass around my neck,
Yeah.
they can't say shit. And if anybody then comes to me and tries to talk to me at that point, I'm like, take a look at this all access pass, mofo. Yeah, that's right. Keep on walking and just mind your business.
All right, so I just got to get a pass around my neck, then I'm good.
Yes, but the appropriate pass.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I gotcha. Um, oh yeah, I know you said. I know we kind of talked about it before, but what are you guys on? Like, what kind of lockdown are you guys on? Can you guys go out or what?
Yeah. I mean, some stuff is still not open here, like hair salons and things like that.
Okay.
That's why I'm wearing this hat because my hair is pretty ridiculous at this
Oh,
point. Yeah, and I know you feel me right now because every time I tune into one of your lives or see one of your posts now, including being on here with you right now, you're doing your best imitation of a Duck Dynasty beard or something you got going on right now because of this quarantine. You need to trim that thing up. It's got a mind of its own. I think pretty soon you're gonna look down and there's gonna be some chicken wings or something hiding in there or something.
It's this is the first time I ever had a beard, so I'm trying to grow it out, and then eventually, yeah, get it trimmed up and all nice whenever I go to.
Yeah, right now you look almost as good as Sidney Crosby does during the playoffs when he can't grow any facial hair to save his life, but it still looks awful.
Oh man!
By any chance, do you own a panel van with tinted windows?
With tinted window, yeah, I got windows.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Next question.
Um, yeah. What about? Is there any athlete that you really want to work with that you haven't worked with yet?
That's always evolving.
Yeah.
Um, I can't uh, I can't really pin it down right now
Mm-hmm.
because my work is always evolving and constantly fortunate enough to be working with um, new people all the time and stuff. So, I never sit idle. I'm always doing something and always trying to improve and always trying to increase the roster, as I'm sure you are too. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I gotcha. Um, what's your favorite sport?
what's my favorite sport?
Yeah.
1,000,000% baseball. If I didn't say that, my best friend of 30 years, Roberto Alomar, would kick my ass. Uh, um, I've always had a very special bond with Robbie and a lot of different baseball players from a lot of the different teams, including our own home team, Toronto Blue Jays. And so, number one in my heart will always be baseball.
I gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if baseball's gonna come back or not, or like maybe with like replacement players or something. I don't know.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah,
Maybe it'll be like the movie The Replacements
yeah,
with Gene Hackman and Keanu Reeves.
yeah. What about? So I've been asking it. This has been a big topic. When what you call it? When you make cereal, do you put your milk in first or your cereal in first?
I'm sorry, did you say that that's been a big topic?
Yeah.
According to who?
When I ask people, everyone goes wild about it.
So the question was what?
You put the milk in first or the cereal in first?
100% cereal. 100% cereal.
All right, good. You're
Yeah.
good.
If you put the milk in and then you put the cereal in, it automatically gets soggy and weird and goopy. Who wants to do that? The traditional cereal way is to put the cereal in first and then the milk because you can control it. Then you can mix it around and eat it.
There, there you go. What about? I keep on wanting to ask you these favorite questions, but I know you work with a lot of people, so. Um, oh, my bad. What about who's your? I'll ask you anyways. Who's your favorite Blue Jay of all time? Well, I guess you're gonna. I know you're gonna say no.
you, I'm surprised you even asked me that question.
All right, how about your current favorite one, like on the team now?
Um, I 100%, I'd say Charlie Montoyo and Mark Budzinski. They're two members of the coaching staff. They are really good people, and we just have a bunch of good young bucks like Bo Bichette, Kevin Biggio, and Vlad Jr., along with Hyunjin Ryu, who just signed an $80 million contract to be our ace. But we haven't seen him pitch, obviously, yet because of this whole situation. And Matt Shoemaker is a really nice guy, too, and I hope that he has a lot of success coming off of his torn ACL from last year because at the time of his injury, I think he was something like 5-1 with a 2.96 ERA.
Gotcha. My friend Christy asked, who is the most unexpected nice athlete?
Who was the most unexpected nice athlete?
Yeah.
Triple H.
All right.
Yeah. You don't think, you think certain people are just going to be dicks and then they just surprise you. Triple H was one of those guys.
I gotcha. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and I look forward to watching your lives. Yeah, let me know when the Dana White one's coming out today.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Later. Wait a minute. So we're done already?
Yeah. Why? What do you want to? You want to talk for?
Well, that I thought we were gonna be on for longer than this, but apparently it went like some of my dates, really quick and in a flash.
Well, I ran out of questions for you.
But well,
Unless
I
you got.
know I know that you pinned at the bottom, ask any questions and things like that. Other than your friend Christy, before I go, does anybody else have any questions? I will stay on here for a couple minutes um, to answer any other questions. Other than that, I will peace out because
How about
apparently,
you got any questions for me?
do I have any questions for you?
Yeah.
Um, no, not really. I just want to know when I'm gonna get some PG Sports swag, because you haven't sent me any PG Sports swag yet.
I gotcha.
Yeah. So you need to do it. Do it first. Say again.
Said, ask and you shall receive.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have fullback hats?
What do you mean?
Like,
Oh, fitteds?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I 7 3/4. That's all I'm saying about that.
All right, I gotta look. I know I don't have that many left, but because I haven't opened the box in like a year, but I'll check it out.
Well, dust it off for me and then see what's up.
Yeah,
But in all seriousness, thank you for allowing me to come on with you. This has been a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for always tuning in and supporting me with my guests and everything that I'm doing. For those who are on your feed right now and are not following me yet, feel free to click my name and shoot me a follow because I'm always doing interesting stuff. And like I said, for those of you who have not had the interesting pleasure yet of listening to the Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast, go there, click on episode 384, go to the 30-minute mark, and that's when my interview starts. You won't want to miss it. But I hope we can do this again soon, and hopefully next week you can come on my live as a guest of me.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, see, I think that's what I did today because I listened to the podcast. So then, like, probably my questions were answered, and then I was just like, damn, because now I know the answer.
Right. Well, yeah, but you still could ask me the
Yeah.
questions because the people
Yeah.
watching don't know that, right? So,
Yeah.
but I appreciate the time, and I look forward to doing it with you again soon.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, see you.
See ya.